And hello there. This is a very special edition of HNGN News. I'm John Leiberman. This is our ongoing series addressing criminal justice issues and the justice system. You had questions. Tonight we're bringing you answers with our very special guest, Ira Judelson. He's known as the bail bondsman to the stars. He's the author of the book, The Fixer, and he is also my friend. Good to see you, Ira.
Johnny, what do you say?
Listen, let's get right to it before we get to our viewer questions. Give us some of the names of the people that you've bailed out during your career.
Well, you got Dominic Strauss-Kahn, Plaxico Burress, Ja Rule, Lil Wayne, the famous ODB, Cat Williams, Lawrence Taylor, and the list goes on, John.
What is it like when you get that call, Ira?
It's a little nerve-wracking because people call me at all different types of times, throughout the night, throughout the day, and the lawyer's always counting on me to make sure that I handle and get everybody in the right place to make that bail move as soon as possible, because no celebrity wants to stay incarcerated. Nobody wants to stay in jail.
Are you basically on the speed dial of every celebrity and athlete here in New York City?
I think I am. A lot of the rappers, a lot of the athletes, a lot of the agencies, they call me and make sure that, when something goes down, I'm right there. And then I start working with agents and publicists and different types of attorneys in the entertainment field to make things happen relatively quick.
Now, you also have a website called Jammed Up. It's jammedupcom. Tell the viewers about that a little bit.
Well, I got broached by a few different people a couple of years ago about doing a website / mobile application called Jammed Up. And what they wanted to do is get involved to have people who get jammed up, who don't understand where to go, what to do at any time, to find what they need in the legal space. And we created a website for lawyers, any type of lawyers, criminal and civil, any bail bondsman, any private investigator, any legal expert. So it's basically the Home Depot for the legal space, and we're like the Uber of the world. So when you need to find somebody in that space, you can find them.
Now, we have a lot of viewer questions to get to. We're going to rip through them. First of all, where did the idea of bail come from, and what's the principle behind it? Explain briefly, this idea of bail.
Well, bail's really a simple word, John. Basically, it's a word that gives the person, the defendant, the opportunity to get out of jail, get out of being incarcerated, and you want to secure the defendant's appearance in court. So the court is happy, DAs are happy, and obviously defendants have the right to get out and fight their case from the outside.
Next question from one of our viewers. In terms of business, how does a bail bondsman profit? Well, there's a fee on top that you charge, correct?
Right. Yeah, in New York State, the fees ranges from 6 to 10%, and that's how we profit. We take it up front, and we secure our bonds, good bondsmen with collateral.
Here's a good question. What happens when a person, quote, jumps bail? What does that mean?
Well, in my world, the national rate of bail jumping is 6%. So for every 100 people, 6 are jumping. My rate is a little under 2%. So, the forfeiture rate here in New York State is a little different. So what I do is I start to get my bounty hunters in place. I work with U.S. Marshals, and then I turn my attorneys on what do you call like a pit bull release. And right. I make sure that I go after all different types of people that sign for the bail and put enough pressure on them to let them know that I'm going to garnish their wages, take their homes, whatever collateral they're putting up, I'm taking. I'm going to make their life miserable.
Yeah, because not only do you want, your fee, obviously, but your obligation to the court is to produce the person.
Absolutely. I have relationships with judges and DAs, and they only care about the defendant. They don't care about what I make and how I do it. So if I'm giving my word or I'm signing my name to a bond, or any good bondsmen's out there, they want to make sure the defendant's in court. You want to have a good reputation so they could go to you and make sure that they're basically, it's a good relationship on both sides.
Another viewer wanted to know what and who determines when bail is set or how high it's set. That's the judge.
Well, the DA basically comes into court and asks for a certain number. Then it's relatively up to the judge what he's going to do. The way a judge takes into consideration of a bail, he looks at flight risk, he looks at the rap sheet, he looks at danger to the community, and then he makes his decision also on the charges of the case. And that's how we look, or that's how he comes to a number that he feels comfortable that's going to secure the defendant's appearance in court.
Are you ever uncomfortable bailing somebody out? In other words, somebody's accused of a rape, somebody's accused, lesser times they get bail for a murder, but sometimes they're accused of a violent crime. Are you ever iffy about it?
John, that's a great question. Being a father, being a husband, obviously there's a lot of cases that, tickle my bones and make me want to become a vigilante. And I have to, take that back into consideration and realize this is a risk business for me, and this is really a business. But there are a lot of cases that I do turn away, and most of them have to do with the sexual assaults, because I put myself in a place where it's not really a business decision sometimes, and I go back and forth on it a lot as being a father and being a husband.
You mentioned this earlier, but I'd imagine that your phone lights up at all times. But I did hear this, and tell me if I'm wrong, that I remember when I saw you have a flip phone, you refused to kind of go into the smartphone arena, right?
When people get a text or an email, you could read it in 6 different ways. I can give it to you, and you could read it one way. I can give it to my wife. She could read it another way, and I could read it another way. I do have a flip phone. I'm not changing. I read an article recently in the Times that some of the people are coming back to flip phones. I want to get on the phone and hear that person, whether it be a defendant's family, whether it be a lawyer, whether it be a friend, to know what they're thinking, what they need from me, so I could jump into action and make it happen.
Is the bail bond business a cyclical business, meaning, we're seeing a spike in crime and violent crime in New York right now, a small spike. Does that mean your business goes up, or is it pretty much, across the board consistent?
The business changed a lot, John, after 9/11. After 9/11, a lot of police officers were on terror duty. They were in the tunnels. They were at Grand Central Station. So a lot of the crimes, went down a little bit. A lot of the arrests went down. It's kind of seasonal. I chart my books. I seem to do well in September, October, November, sometimes into December, where people want to get out for the holidays. And then I'm a little slow in January, and then, it kind of picks back up, and then it gets a little slow in the summer. The lesser crimes have changed a little bit. The lesser arrests have changed a little bit. I see the city now giving DAT tickets for marijuana, and different other charges where they used to put people through the system like that. They're not doing it as much anymore.
And I'm curious, just before we let you go, how did you get into this business? At what point did you realize you wanted to be a bail bondsman, and how did you get into it?
That's a long story. That's why we wrote the book, The Fixer.
Okay.
Basically what happened, John, is I was floundering. I was all over the place. I was very depressed. I was living at home with my parents at the age of 30. I was playing professional softball, and you say, what's professional softball? But I was getting paid to play $25 a game to play from a buddy of mine that was kind of sponsoring the team. He happened to be a criminal defense attorney, and when I went down one time to see him, he had a client in the office. A little bit about the bail business. I asked my buddy about it. He turned me on to 2 bondsmen. I went to meet with them. I had about $65 in my pocket. They ate for $64. I didn't have a thing, and I didn't learn anything. So I gave up on the industry. Lo and behold, about a year later, I was playing softball, and I met a gentleman in the Ramada Inn down in New Jersey. He turned out to be the biggest bondsman or insurance company broker in the world, and he turned out to be a relative. And it was a crazy story. My mother basically took her wedding album down, and there was a picture of him at her wedding almost 50, 60 years ago. And it was a crazy story. I got to know him. It turned out to be my Uncle Phil. We built a great relationship. He gave me an opportunity in New York, and now we've taken it to a whole new level.
Wow. That is that is a fascinating story.
If you read the book The Fixer, John, and I'm not trying to sell the book here or promote it, it's really a great read. It tells a little bit about, how I found my way. It's a rags to riches story.
No, it's an amazing story. I read it because I had you on my radio show,
Right.
and I read the book. It is amazing. Before we let you go, tell us that one celebrity story without obviously hurting the integrity of your business, but tell us one story that is either in the book or not in the book that the viewers might find interesting.
Well, I guess the story would be DMX. Earl Simmons. Me and Earl built a great relationship. And when Earl was incarcerated, he called me up and he's like, "Get me out, get me out, get me out." And I had a great relationship with Earl, and I got him out. And Earl owed me a few dollars as far as the fee goes. So I said, "Earl, you got to come to my house and give me the fee," because he lived over in Westchester, and so did I. And, Earl had a little bit of a time management problem, so he could never be on time, never could do it. So finally, he was supposed to be there one day, he never showed up. I called him, I said, "Earl, I need to take care of this." He's like, "Oh, man, I'm going to be at your house in like 10 minutes. 2 hours later, he's not there. I said, "Earl, I got to go to my niece's birthday party. Where is it?" I said, "Oh, it's in Danbury." He goes, "Where?" I go to Danbury Mall. "I'll meet you there." So the next thing you know, I'm going to the Danbury Mall. Earl is flying up there. The next thing you know, he's in the mall. They closed the whole mall down because they saw DMX in the mall. And Earl's brought his whole family to my niece's birthday party. So Earl brought his wife and his children, and they partied with my niece. And if you saw my sister-in-law's face, you could die laughing. But it turned out it was great. They shut the whole mall. Me and Earl hugged, we built a great relationship from there.
That is a terrific story. We urge you to read The Fixer. It is a fascinating read. Go to jammedupcom, check out what Ira has going on, and gather your questions, because we're going to have Ira back very soon, and we might have some surprises in store for you, Ira and I, as well. Ira, thanks, buddy. I know you have a kid's baseball game to get to, but make sure you have the flip phone with you.
I got the flip phone, John, and I appreciate it, and look forward to doing this with you all the time. And any people out there that want to know more questions about the criminal world and bail, it'll be a special segment between me and you.
That's great stuff. He is Ira Judelson. Thanks again, Ira. Take good care.
Okay, buddy, be good.
And we want to thank you for watching this special presentation of HNGN News. Stay right here, this spot, for all the latest in crime and justice. For now, again, special thanks to our guest, Ira Judelson. I'm John Leiberman. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.